What's up, people? Welcome to another edition of the New Breed Podcast, the world's best new metal podcast with two guys who were actually there. I'm one half of your hosting duo, Jay Horskow. With me, I have my partner in crime, the notorious TIM, Tim Anderson Jr. Tim, how is it going?
Great. Feeling just great.
Yeah. Well, that's the weather. And joining us this week for our special guest, we have none other than the vocalist of the band Stepa, Mr. Blake Beckman. Blake, thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me.
We are
definitely
stoked. Yeah, right. We've been swapping messages for quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm not the Instagram chief, so
all good. We're here now.
Dark for me, so I had to step away a bit.
We're here now, so let's do it. All right, are you? What are you drinking?
What I had in the fridge, the Fat Tire. I don't love it.
There you go. So it's rare that we get a guest that's drinking with us. So
yeah, very rare.
You're drinking. I'm like, I got some buddies coming over tomorrow, so got next couple of days off. So I'm like,
might as well.
There you go.
Right?
You got a little studio behind you.
Yeah, it's where the magic happens.
There you go. There you go. So, all right. So I got to ask. So the band originally was named. What is it? Is it Flip?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I'm like the worst at pronouncing shit, so I'm like, oh, is that Flip? Yeah, and I just kind of figured it was. So let's talk about that and then the name change, because that's I'm kind of interested in that.
Yeah, so it started off Flip. We started in 98, like summer of 98, like the four of us. We had tried to get together for a couple years and like just find a guitar player, find a drummer, but like we started when I was 14. It's like we're 12 and we're trying to find guys to like, that we had all started playing. I started playing bass when I was 10. The other guys started when they were about 9 or 10. So by the time we were 14, 15, we were, good for that age. And so finding people was a bit tough. So we started summer 98. And then the first name was Flip. We actually, when we got signed, there's another band named Flip with an F, of course. And we, it's funny, we actually, our very first tour that we went out on, went up to Madison, Wisconsin, and we actually played with that exact same band. That was the reason that we had to change our name.
Of course.
Oh, that's irony.
Yeah. So no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so, Stepa came up, the Inni Kamosi song. Stepa, right? We were recording the record, and our DJ came in, and he had been listening to that on the way to the studio, and was like, "Hey, what about?" Tony was our A&R guy. He's like, "Tony, what do you think about this?" And he's like, "Oh, I love it." And we're like, "Fine." After the 20th conversation about what our band's name should be, like, just do it. No,
it's crazy though, because like I'm looking at some of the band facts and stuff during the week, and it's like you don't really see anything with you guys doing Flip, but you going through with that. So how do you guys get a major label? Just was it demos or just touring, or how did that work?
Dude, sheer stupid luck. So we were playing like a talent show at the Ventura Theater, which is a theater about 40 minutes north of me, and we played our set. I guess during the set, our bass player's strap broke, and so his bass is just like kind of swinging there. But it's the end of the song, and it's like a dun 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 dun, and he's just wailing on it with his hand, and it's looking cool. It's it's doing the whole thing. And again, mind you, like I'm like 16, maybe like 15,
Jesus.
16, and our manager, or the guy that becomes our manager, comes up to us and he's like, "Hey, this is awesome. This is 1999, so we're full in the new metal. We all have dreads, and he's like, I want to represent you guys." And he just happened to know Ted Fields, who at the time, I think he was vice president of Interscope. I could be totally wrong about that, but he was very, very high up. And he met with us a bunch of times, and he, developed our set, developed our stage show, how to better leverage the DJ. And he called Ted up and he's like, "Hey, I got this band that I think you're going to like." And we played a showcase, and literally next week we were like in Jimmy Iovine's office.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy
At
shit.
16?
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude.
We had written, he came to watch us play, and it was like heavy stuff. We're 16, we're not writing songs. He's like, I want you guys to write a hit song. And so we kind of just threw this song together. And he came and he watched us, and he's like, Scott came back and watched us, and he's like, that's perfect. This is totally perfect. So we had this demo with these 3 songs. They were super duper catchy, and right moment, right people, right time, right song. Like it kind of just all happened.
It's like the universe all came together all at once. All at once.
It's just wild. Like you're 16 in Jimmy Iovine's office. Like at that point, like you guys, how old's everybody else at that time? Because that's crazy to me.
I'm the youngest, but not by much. So 3 of the guys were a year older than me, so they were about 17. And then our guitar player was, I think he was like 19 or 20. Yeah, and the DJ was about the same age. Yeah, we went to Jimmy Iovine's. I didn't know who he was.
He's just some record dude, right?
Yeah. And it dawned on me because we're in his office and we're having this meeting. He's like, I love you, Ben. You guys are great. I love the song. And our drummer's dad like drove us down there because we're too young to drive ourselves down there. And he's like leaning against this piece of furniture. And I look up and there's a picture of John Lennon above it. It's the Mellotron that John Lennon used to play Strawberry Fields. And Mark's dad just leaning on it. I'm like, oh, this is like a big deal.
Holy shit, man.
I would think that's probably that ignorance, right? It's also kind of a benefit in the sense of you didn't get nervous, you didn't get cold feet, you kind of just went in and were like, all right, it's just some record dude. He wants to hear us play and maybe put it together. So that's like there's probably a not knowing contributed to a lack of stress because it's just like, yeah, okay, it's just some record dude. Like little did you know he would go on to do beats with Dr. Dre and they'd make shit tons of money and like insane. That's insane.
I mean, it was to the point like Mark, our drummer, he picks up a copy of Maxim that's sitting on the coffee table and he goes over and he sits on Jimmy's like armchair and he's like, Jimmy, I want that. Because Jimmy, I think so this is like before Napster and before like streaming really completely, destroyed the business part of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's just like, yeah, we got money, we can help you guys. Like, I don't know if he knew that this was the first, label to pitch this band. And so I think he was trying to sell it a little bit. And so Mark's like, yeah, I want that. And just like that attitude, that enthusiasm, like
that's awesome.
It's that awesome. Sheer confidence that a 16, 17-year-old has.
Exactly, right?
So all right, so 99, bands are still getting like good deals like right away. So you don't have to say the number, but did they just like present you guys with, all right, here's a check, you're gonna write a record with fucking, who was it? Jay, what the hell's his name? Did you guys do
Baumgartner? Yeah.
Like, did they say, here's a check, you're gonna write this, you're gonna do this record, and we're gonna put it out on Interscope? Or was it Locomotive that put it out?
So once the record was done, Interscope didn't want to put it out. They the single that was on that demo had gotten changed enough that they didn't like it. And so they're like, okay, the album's fine, whatever. And I think it was too, so this was, I think the new metal wave had started to kind of break by the time we were done with our record. Like it finished a couple months, like a month before 9/11. And then like after that, so I just think they weren't interested in putting it out. They didn't hear a strong single, which is a bummer because Aquarium got like no support, but it got play across the Midwest and across, the South. So it was the potential was there, but yeah, so they didn't end up distributing the record. They sold, it was so great because they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this album and recording the energy and this nice thing, and then they didn't put it out, and then they licensed it to us to use for 5 years for like $5,000. And so or to Locomotive, I guess, and then Locomotive ended up putting it out.
Jesus, it's crazy that they didn't like it because when I listen to that record, like I hear the new metal on it, but more more I hear like a rock record. It's just like a straight rock record to me.
It made me think of what is the band name, Tim? We interviewed him early on. They were on Ozfest, very much a rock and roll type. They get badged with new metal, but they were very much rock and roll. Who was it? I want to say it was Apartment 26, but it wasn't Apartment 26, and now I feel stupid. But it was.
We interviewed them.
Yes.
I do. There's been
Shit,
so
I
many
gotta go back and
episodes.
look.
I can't.
But yeah, I mean, like that album's catchy as hell. It should have been. It rightly should have been all over the radio because there is a lot of really just tracks where it's not like aggressively coming out and smacking you in the face. Like 2002, what is this? This is Iowa, right? Iowa's out. American Head Charge, the real heavy stuff was really starting to come in. This was something where I put it on in the background and it's playing, and when it's and I'm not along, and then when it's done, I'm like, oh shit, is that done? Well, I hit that again, and I hit play, and I let it go again. Like it highly earworm. Earworm is the term I'm looking for. A lot of earworms out there.
Yeah, I mean, songs like Free and stuff. I'm like, dude, that's a fucking rock song. That's like, that's a fucking great song, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a challenge to make that record because it was like, Flip was this like funk metal. So where the town that we grew up in, Newbury Park, super close to Calabasas, and the guys from the Incubus are all from Calabasas. Right, so a lot of the other local bands in that area sound like Incubus, are dating guys that are related to people in Incubus, or so that was such a huge influence. And when we went to make the record, like we were, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like if Primus and Pantera and Pink Floyd were doing this thing, and then I was like rapping over it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then like, okay, we signed you for this hit song. You guys got to write hit songs. And Jay was very like, every song should be a single. Every song should be. So it was a lot of like, Jesse, our bass player, he's really, really good bass player, super quick, done a lot of slap stuff. But then I was like, okay, well, I just did Papa Roach and Pressure 4-5 and Alien.
That's who it was.
Some like some safer stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they put a lot of money into it. So it was kind of like, how do you, on the spot in front of all these dudes that like have big names and big creds, like how do you figure out how to write catchy songs?
Yeah, at 17, 18.
Right.
No.
Yeah, like that pressure had to be on for that because it's like, especially being young, it's like, shit, man, like we could really make our lives amazing right now, or we can make it shit again. Not saying your life was shit. I'm just saying, like, when you want to be a musician and you get this opportunity, it's like, fuck, dude, like that pressure had to be on right there.
But it kind of wasn't because we were young. You know what I mean? It was like we started a band and we played local shows, and all, people were coming to our shows, and then we got this deal, and then we got to record at NRG, and it's like, of course that would have happened because we started when we were 14. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're in those forming your view of the world, and that's like, oh, just an assumption of how this thing is going to happen.
So you guys put the record out. They threw you right on tour, right?
We went out, and I'm not sure, again, because I was so young, I wasn't really paying attention to how the sausage was being made. You know what I mean? But no, Interscope, they funded a couple week tour, like up the coast of California, like, figure out how to play your songs, that you've been in the, but I think when the record came out, Locomotive helped put us out. And it was bare bones. It was like, $5 a day per diem, and hope we sell enough shirts and CDs. It wasn't like, it was like, you have CDs and you have shirts. So you show up to the town and you go and you hand out flyers and you play your ass off, and you try to sell that stuff, and you make enough to get to the next gig. So did that work every night? I'm here, so I made it back, but it became like every other day, the fucking RV would break down.
Oh, of course.
Like, okay, here's a new adventure. Here's, we're in the middle of Nebraska. There's like nothing, but there's this gas station. We gotta make this happen.
Oh, Christ, man. Yeah. So I did read that they put you guys on tour with one of my favorite bands from back then. Well, they put out one of my favorite EPs, and Jay's gonna laugh, but that Medication EP is so fucking good.
Dude, it is good.
No, it really is. It really is.
I know when I seen that, I was like, dude, that's a fucking. I wish I could have seen that tour, man.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Those guys were super cool. Our manager was managing them as well at the time. Had Logan from he was in Machine Head. He was in Soulfly for a while. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing now. I think he's in a band with the dude from Killswitch, right?
He's and his wife, right? His wife sings for something, and all I know is he is ripped as shit. Like he looks like what's his name? The guy from is it Doyle, who's all jacked out of his mind? Like I saw an interview with Logan Mader. Was like, man, I wish I could get older and get that big. Like I just got fat. He got like jacked to the fucking gills.
Yeah, he would walk around doing handstands and stuff.
Jay, we could be skinny if we just had any self-control.
Self-control.
Yeah.
It's like I'm making breakfast. I'm like, yeah, I'll take another slice of Scrapple. Fuck it. And then next thing you know, it's like me. I had to buy a widescreen camera, so I looked skinnier. The Medication. Yeah, that's one of those forgotten bands. Well, look at the talent that was in that band, though. I mean, it was what Whitfield Crane from Ugly Kid Joe. It was Logan Mader. I think it was Roy Mayorga, right, from Soulfly, was the original drummer.
Yeah,
and a dude from a band which I am convinced is completely forgotten. I'm trying to get Sam Hoyos to get one of their vocalists on. B Blunt from A Day in the Life, which I am convinced that band is one of those amazing bands that, like your band, Blake, one of those bands that was really unique and made really great music, and for whatever reason, it just got completely missed, and it has just slipped through the cracks into the annals of time.
Do you know if he was in that band before or after Medication?
I think it was before, because they were out, they were in and out. I think they were done by, it had to be 98. They did one album on TVT. Yeah. They were playing a show. It was a VOD show, and they got into a fight on stage and stormed off before I could even get into the friggin' Trocadero. And I think they did like one tour, and then that was the end of it. That's a shame. Really
that is a great record as well. Yeah.
Really, really unique and completely forgotten.
Yeah. So I want to go back to when you guys were recording the record. So what's his name's brother had some something to do with that too? Wes Borland's brother. What the hell's his name?
Oh yeah, Scott.
So what did he do on the record for you guys?
He did some of the keys, like the keyboards, the synthesizers, like the background stuff, some of the ambiance stuff.
Oh, okay.
He came in, I think, 1 or 2 days, and him and myself and our bass player, we just kind of sat around and we're like, okay, this part, what this part needs something. What else does it need? And just humming little melodies, and I like that. And so he's sitting there with his Moog, and he's playing the synthesizers and stuff. And super, super nice guy. I think that was before Chocolate Starfish had come out, like right around that time.
Weren't they doing Big Dumb Face as well back then?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Shit, I haven't heard that in forever. You ever heard that shit, Jay?
I think we listened to it as part of that episode we did of everybody's post new metal side projects, right?
Yeah. Okay.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't listen to Big Dumb Face. We listened to Wes Borland's other band where you were mad that we had to listen to it because it was not your thing.
Yeah. That shit's terrible.
I forget. What was the name? Shit.
I forget, man. It don't even matter at this point.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but that's another thing. Like being that young and you have dudes like that, like in the studio with you, man. That's fucking crazy, dude. That's like a story you don't hear all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
like Kitty. You know what I mean? They're 16, whatever, and they're in the studio with Garth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's wild shit, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're rehearsing, doing pre-production across the street, and like Stone Temple Pilots are in the next room, just going over their stuff. It's just like, it's insane. Like Scott Weiland's walking around, and
that is wild.
You know?
Like we started talking about grunge music, right? So for someone who appreciates that, right, who appreciates that scene, and like that had to be kind of surreal, like coming out of the recording studio and like, is that what? That's Wyland, and he's just walking by. So weird.
What were they doing then? Was that Purple?
No, I was that was the one with the Shangri-La.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
it was after that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because the first record came out in like '94, didn't it?
Dude, people don't realize. I mean, if we should do a big four of grunge, right? And it's probably Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, and oh shit. Do you go with Alice in Chains or Stone Temple Pilots? This is where it starts getting difficult.
Alice in Chains. That's not even a fucking question.
I don't know, man.
Because they were, when they first came out, right? Everyone was capping on them. They're like, you sound just like everybody else, and you're biting the sound, but they're like, yeah, but we write incredible songs.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, before he passed, I seen them in Philly, and dude, they were fucking amazing live still.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't see him actually perform that.
Yeah. They're fucking great band, dude.
Top 10 band of mine for sure.
Yeah, that first record is hit after hit, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
love that shit.
Yeah,
and it is kind of wild. They wrote Jesus. You're right. They did. They used to bag on them and say, "Oh, you're just a copy of Pearl Jam." It's like, are you fucking kidding me? They write songs. Another band. God, Tim and I. It seems like Blake, it seems like we defend these guys every episode, but everybody loves to shit on Chad Kroeger and Nickelback. Mm-hmm. I dare you to go write some of the songs that band has written, like hit after hit, like shit that gets stuck in your head and you can't help but sing along. Like, I don't care about the memes. Look at this photograph. I don't care. There are some fucking good songs.
Yeah, completely agree. And it's not my they just had the rotten luck of coming out, 4 or 5 years, but they didn't, because they still made it. They still made a ton of money. They're still making records.
Yeah, I mean, them and Slipknot was Roadrunner turned to them and said, "We're going to push you guys into to the detriment of bands like," and it comes up all the time, Glassjaw, right? Who was basically, they got left behind because Slipknot and Nickelback were the thing for Roadrunner at the time.
Yeah. All that shit is just jealousy, though. Like, Nickelback, Creed, that's just jealousy, of how big they got and all that shit. That's all it boils down to.
Are we going to see the Creed reunion show? Like, are we going?
No, not unless what's his name drags us.
Somebody's got to drag us to it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
so 2003 comes, you leave the band, right?
Yeah. I was asked to leave the band.
Oh, okay.
I was not. It was, it was shitty. It was a rough time, a rough thing to go through, but I wasn't, right, because everything just kind of happened for us, right? And I started playing bass, and then when I met our bass player, I'm like, oh, he's better. He's a year older than me. He's been playing longer. He's gonna play bass. Okay, well, what can I do? Well, it's 98. I can rap and I can scream. And so I wasn't as experienced as I needed to be, and I wasn't as disciplined as I needed to be. You know what I mean? And I wasn't getting as good as the band was getting.
Okay.
And I think too, at that time, between when that happened and the record came out, we had Shane come in, who was he had played with us like when we very, very first started, kind of in and out, dating girls, having the the discipline of a 15-year-old. And so he came back in, and he's like just the most creative, naturally talented dude you'll ever meet. Just like every single thing he does just like oozes with creativity. He's one of those guys. And so he had come in to play the second guitar parts and sing backup vocals. And so he was writing a lot darker stuff than I think I wanted to. And so between me just not practicing enough, essentially, and not taking it seriously enough, and then them wanting to go in a darker direction, I think that's what it was. I haven't got a totally clear answer on it. And all this stuff happened 20 years ago, so it's like,
right, like it's can't even remember
when you're kids. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. One particular small thing, or whatever it was.
So it was you and Chaz left, right?
So I left, and then Chaz. Once I left, Chaz left.
Okay.
And again, it was like the new metal waves, just 02, 03 had kind of crashed. Like the rapping was less popular, and they were going in more of a, I don't want to say pop punk, but just a more like deliberately musical direction, I think.
Okay.
You know, and it, you know, rapping is musical, but Shane had a lot more, like he listened to like a lot more pop punk, a lot more No Effects, and a lot more Stained. So I think just more radio, like that radio era of new metal. Like we're just doing that. We're not doing the super heavy thrashing parts, dreads everywhere, you know, blood on the ground kind of stuff.
Right.
The stuff that got you noticed at first. Yeah.
Well, but at that time, like 2003, 2004, I mean, you're right. I mean, this is where the rise of stuff like Breaking Benjamin and the more radio friendly stuff starts coming on. Godsmack is huge. Creed is huge. Disturbed, right? Started as a new metal band. I guess now they're like a rock band. That stuff is breaking big. And then Tim and I talk about before 2004, Ozfest 2004 that's when metalcore arrives. That's to me, like if you look at that lineup, there's I think OTEP and one other new metal band, and everything else is the stuff that was coming in at the time. It was Every Time I Die, and it was Unearth, and it was all that. And at this point, you're right, the tide is going in a new direction. And it was, and I don't think anybody saw it coming, but it seemed like just like that.
Yeah. And I mean, especially I was thinking like, because we were on Interscope, it wasn't like we're gonna follow where the metal is going. We're just like, we just want to find a record deal.
Right.
I think that was a lot of the ethos at the time. And our manager is definitely an influence in that, but you know, for better or for worse. But you know, it's a music business, right? And he wasn't take a bunch of kids for fun, you know.
Right.
Well, now that I think about it too, like the California sound back then, like it was very, very, you know, like you kind of had a feeling when there was a band would come out, you would kind of have a feeling they're a California band, because that sound was just, it was, what's the word, Jay?
Pervasive.
Like pervasive.
Like it's
And I mean, back then, 2004, I mean, shit, what was that? As I Like Dying was starting, shit like that. So you had, and you know, Pennywise and stuff was huge still.
Yeah.
So like that California sound, I mean, even to this day, it's pretty deliberate when you hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And it doesn't surprise me at all.
You guys were talking about Finch. That was in Riverside, and we opened up for them, and it was like the first experience I had where like the kids were there, but they all had like eyeliner on, and were like, you know, their hair was all black, and then like the skinny jeans and stuff, and we got our kickwears on, and our, you know, the bottom of our pants are this big, and they weren't into it. And I'm like, oh shit, this like that was the first time I was like, this may be
yeah.
The tide's turning.
Tide's
with the
going
fashion
out.
core.
Yep.
The fashion core comes. 18 Visions came in and just.
Tim and I are we consistently lament when we're gonna get to the redo of like the swoop haircuts and the bullet belts and like the white stud belts, and remember there was that phase where everybody was doing neon merch with these like giant full print oversized, like, oh god, the merch was terrible. It's terrible, like, and I hate to like narc them out, but it was like, it was Animosity, and it was I Wrestled a Bear Once, As Blood Runs Black, that early stage deathcore stuff.
Chelsea Grin,
it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah,
like, shout out some of those bands, but it's terrible.
The whole front of the shirt is a logo. Yeah, God, that drives me nuts.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. So I want to ask you, Blake, what else do you listen to these days? You still listen to any like modern new metal? Any like totally extreme stuff? What else catches your ear?
I still like the metal a lot. You know, being almost 40, like I just, you know, spend most of my time working, so I don't get a ton of time to like sit. And I do like, I spend a lot of time with Excel. You know what I mean? So I got to be thinking. I got to be focused. I mean, I start putting on like fun music, and it starts to get distracted. But you know, like I like when I first heard Every Time I Die, like I absolutely fell in love with that band, and that sort of kicked open the door to like hardcore and more metal. Because again, like in my new metal brain, I'm like, oh, I don't listen to that stuff. That's too heavy. You know, and there was a rift between us and the hardcore kids at school, right? You're new metal and you're hardcore, and it was just stupid. And I feel dumb because I like, you know, missed out on the opportunity to get into a lot of these really great bands as they were sort of kicking off. But yeah, man, like I love Every Time I Die still thing.
Okay.
Zeal and Ardor, really, really into that dude, I guess.
I haven't heard anyone talk about that band on here ever.
No, that is a first.
Yeah,
that is a first.
I'm into the Dropout Kings for new metal stuff.
Okay.
Kind of just recently came across my radar. Loving Chat Pile. It's a bit
yes.
Yeah, that to like I can't do it too much. Good for Tim
and I we've talked about it before, Blake. That's one of those albums that I really like, that I can't listen to more than 2 or 3 songs at a clip. I find it, this is a weird way to describe it, I find it deeply unsettling in a way that I almost struggle to put into words. But I get like 3 songs in, I'm like, I can't, I'd rather listen to the most bleak black metal than this. Just turn it off. Because it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's like total futility.
Yeah.
Just like, but then there's that social commentary current that runs through it at the same time. So you're like, oh, it's not just bleakness. It's like bleakness attached to our fucking reality.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I love that record, man. I love it.
It's great, but it's like, I mean,
it is wild shit though.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely in that same vein as like, Uniform and The Body and Full of Hell and Lingua Ignota, like that stuff where you like, yeah, these artists, they're on stage and they're trying to work out some shit, and it's just, we're just on the receiving end of it, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, it makes you have to take a shower after you listen to it. And that's why I love it. I love that dirty feeling from music. There's nothing better than that sometimes, especially when you're in like a mood where you're like, I need something just devastating right now.
You know what I found myself listening to a lot this week? Well, I'm not surprised, but the newest Mizmor album I find is really dark, but I mean, it's way more accessible than some of the other stuff. They're one of those bands that I love seeing them live, but usually on recording, it's like, I kind of want to go outside and sit in the sun for a bit. Blake, do you mess with pop punk at all? Do you fuck around with pop punk at all? Are you into it?
Not really. Never came across my.
Okay.
Shit, being from where you are, that's very surprising.
Yeah, I helped a buddy set up a stage and a bunch of gear last week for like a whole emo pop punk day that they were having outside. Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, okay.
Outside,
pizza boxes everywhere.
Outside, won't the eyeliner melt? Like, I mean, it's kind of warm, but yeah.
Yeah. Then you're not in shape. You're just stuck together.
So after you leave, didn't the band do an EP or a demo or something?
Yeah, they did a demo, 3-song demo. Had the song Teenage Funeral on it.
There you go.
Yeah, Gravity and Helpless. And then they toured that. I'm kind of murky on the details here because I wasn't there, obviously, but like they did, and they went out to Texas. They did like a loop, through the South and then back to the Midwest, I think. And then Shane left the band shortly thereafter.
Okay.
So he was
What did you think of the EP or the 3 songs they put out after you?
They're so fucking good. Like those songs they're so raw and they're so like Teenage Funeral. Like our buddies kept driving drunk and killing themselves. You know what I mean? Like just this heavy shit. The song Helpless is about Shane's dad. Who's just a dick. But just like this really raw stuff. You know what I mean? And had I been there, those songs couldn't have happened. And I'm like glad that I didn't stop that from happening. Yeah.
I mean, everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So how did everything come full circle, Blake? I mean, you leave the band, a couple of people leave the band, everything disbands, and then now all of a sudden you guys are working on some new stuff. So how did all of this get started again? Was it just the planets aligning, or?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, so we, on Instagram, and every couple of weeks, like someone would reach out and, hey, I love your band, and this song meant a lot to me. This album's really good. And I'm like, oh, thanks, man. In my mind, it's like, oh, this is just this thing I did when I was a kid. And then we started the Instagram, and just more and more people kept hitting us up, and someone put the album on streaming services. And then when it got taken off, and I'm not sure exactly why it got taken off, they were, everyone was kind of like upset and like, all right, well, there's an appetite for this. And then at the same time, our buddy Taylor Volts, who he's the singer of Bam Moreau. You guys heard of them?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that later. Yeah.
Okay, we'll get there. Anyways, he reached out to. There's a photo of me performing at a, in town, and there's like Taylor. He's a couple of years younger than me, like standing behind me with like his bleached blonde hair that's all spiked up, and he's like, that was the show that like blew his mind and made him want to, start playing music. And so he's always been just around to help out. You know what I mean? Like I have like a project, I want to record something. He's an engineer. So he hit our bass player up, and I don't exactly know how that transpired, but basically like there's this interest online. This stuff is coming back. We have not only that 3-song demo, all the other songs that they had written for what would have been the second record, and then the 6 or 7 songs that got written after our album with me. So we have all these songs, and after the band, like I went to music school, and like I studied music like very seriously. And I was like, I want to do songwriting, I want to do film composition. That was where I thought I was going to go at that time. So I never stopped writing. And so it's like, we got all these songs. Taylor shows up and he's like, hey, I can help you guys like record this stuff and give you the gear. And there's an audience, there's an interest. We got some good songs. We're like, and it's cool because it's like you get your best over a 20-year period, out of the 30, 40 songs you wrote, you pick the ones that are the best. And so we're pumped on it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That really is fantastic. I mean, I remember seeing you guys name when Tim and I first started dipping our toes into the new metal Reddit. Oh, it was step all over the place. And I was like, Jesus. I mean, like these guys, I mean, I'm like, there's all this stuff, and this is the band that kept coming up the most. And I'm like, Tim, we got to get these guys on the show. Like everybody is talking about, like, we're missing something, dude. We got to get on the game here.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember hearing the record back then, and then when I listened to it a few months ago, I was like, dude, this fucking record's great, man.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like it's been happening a lot with like new metal nowadays. It's like you go into like the catalog, or I flip through my old CD book and I'm like, gotta listen to that, and then you put them on, you're like, dude, it like throws you back to when you're younger. Yeah. You're like, dude, this stuff. Now I know why it came back, and it's coming back even harder now because people are realizing that genre of music was just at the time was unstoppable, man. And right now, I feel like that could happen again. Especially with bands like you guys coming back, and you're going to put a new record out, and people are going to be super excited for that, man.
I mean, there's a lot more. It's not just exposure. I think it was back then. There were so many bands coming out so frequently, all at once. All the record labels are pushing all their stuff that it was easy to get overwhelmed. And I would argue that now there's twice as much music coming out, like twice as much music available to us as fans, but also our listening tastes have changed. You don't pick up an album and listen to it nonstop for 3 weeks, right? And then you pick up a different album, and Tim and I, we joke, you spent your allowance on the stupid CD. I bought fucking Floodgate on Roadrunner by the guy from Exhorder, and it was terrible, but I forced myself to like it because I spent the $15 and it was my allowance. Like, here we go. I mean, it's how I started to learn. That's how I taught myself to love I Hate God, truth be told. But I mean, now it's you can, people's ears are attuned to moving through stuff quicker, so they can go into the back catalog and find all these gems that for whatever reason just like Day in the Life, right? It's just stuff that for whatever reason is highly talented and just falls by the wayside.
There's so many factors that just have to be in place for it to work. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's like, it literally is lightning in a bottle. Why two bands, come out at the same time, and one will get huge and one won't. And you're like, what? That was the one that I liked. Like, what about this one? Yeah.
So how is it working nowadays? Because I mean, obviously everybody's older and stuff, so everybody's got a job. So how many of you guys are? Let me ask this first: how many of the original guys are doing the new record?
So we had a conversation. a year and a half ago, and everybody was on board. Our DJ passed away last year, so
sorry,
he's
sorry,
drinking and drugs for a long time. So he wasn't involved, but everyone else was like, yes, I want to do this. I love this idea. And then in reality, it's been myself and our bass player have been actually doing the recording.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
I'm assuming he's the one running the Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody else is not on board right now?
There's mixed levels of enthusiasm. I mean, it's like, I think everybody likes the idea, but it's like, they're all 40.
You have lives. You have lives, families, kids, jobs. I mean, I get it.
Have their own, their own businesses. It's like, it's just, you got life to live. You know what I mean? There's always something in the day here, I just happen to be in a fortunate situation where my job allows me the free time to be able to,
So, all right. So here's the big question everybody wants to know. How many songs are written? When we getting a single? When's the record coming out?
24 songs.
Wow.
We wrote a couple more than that. We're going to put out all of them. That's the reason why it's taken so long, honestly, because I'm playing guitar. So I'm doing 2 guitar players' work, program the drums, and I'm doing the vocals. So I'm kind of the the clog right now. But we're doing 24 songs. I'd love to say I know when it's going to be done. We have all the drums are done, all the guitars are done, and I'm just looking to get into vocals next weekend. I'm going to start that journey. So, but I mean, again, it's like I work during the week, so my weekends are the time when the
right.
the work gets done. So I'm hoping to have. I'd like something late fall, like at least a couple singles. Because out of 24 songs, we could drop a couple,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fucking super looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And everybody these days, it's you drop a single, you drop it, like it's 3 or 4. Like I can't believe Sleep Token. I mean, I can't believe that new album is as good as it is, because they really are amazing. But they literally dropped 4 singles over the course of like 6 months, and then they released an album. All 4 of those singles are on the album, and the album is still doing gangbusters. That whole tour is sold out. Like the way that bands market themselves these days is totally different. You got to stay in the public eye. You gotta get a song out there here or there so people don't forget about you. And I mean, Tim and I, we did an episode on, I think it was soundtracks. And we miss the days where a band has a bunch of B-sides laying around where it's like, oh, we'll send this to this soundtrack, like the exclusives, right? Where I had to go buy the Strangeland soundtrack because I wanted to hear the new Snot song, right? There was no getting around it. Yeah.
I want to get those 2 Alice in Chains songs on the last Action Hero soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly.
I get teething on the Crow soundtrack, or the Pantera cover on the first Crow soundtrack, or
I am always, whenever the question comes up, what is my favorite Deftones song? Funnily enough, it's always a tie between Teething from The Crow and Can't Even Breathe from Escape from LA, which is wild that 2 of their best songs came from movie soundtracks. It's like,
Teething is an amazing song.
A monster. It's a monster song.
Yeah. It really is.
Speaking of Deftones, since they were Sacramento, but did you guys end up playing with them at all?
No, never. We were they were super established by the time that we were.
By 2002. What is that? That's White Pony's already been out, right? Like they're going this way. Yeah.
Jesse, I think I might have been like 15. He went to see Snot and Deftones in Santa Barbara, and he got like a actual cassette tape of My Own Summer and Can't Even Breathe. So it was like that much before us. Yeah, White Pony came out when we were recording the record. We were still in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's wild. So I know I listened today to your other band. Is it Fermata?
Yeah.
Dude, good stuff. I like that EP. Vessel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear the it sounds a little bit like Stepa, but it's more, again, in that rock direction. To me, it sounded like it. I was really impressed with that, man. It's good stuff.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. And we were I always feel like I don't want to throw shade on it. It was like my rebound project. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, shit. I don't think anyone will take offense to that.
Show those guys that I could do this without them.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Fuck you guys. I'm putting this out.
Yeah.
Was there anyone in that band from Stepa, or was it just you and then other guys?
Me and then other guys that had been in like bands in the area.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean it's kind of similar. I mean, when I'll send it to Jay from the check out.
I got it.
It's
I got it.
Did you listen to it?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar at times, but it's got its own flavor as well. So it's good, man.
The guitar player was, and the principal songwriter in that group was a big Stepa fan.
Oh, okay.
First got
Makes
a Stepa.
sense.
Like, how do we? There were certain elements about the Stepa sound that were like, oh, they're not doing that. We should take it in this direction or that direction. Yeah, so a lot of that influence is still there.
And you did a solo project as well. What's it called? And the Fixation.
Yeah.
I couldn't find that online. So what was that like?
I haven't put that out. You're doxing me right now. No,
My
yeah,
bad.
I did that. I don't know, 15-ish years ago, 14-ish years ago. Then that was me just after Fermata broke up. Again, trying to prove to myself like I can do this. Not only can I start another band, I can do the whole thing by myself.
Okay.
And I got the drummer from Fermata played on that EP, and then I did the rest of the stuff.
Oh, okay. So there ain't no way we're hearing that then.
We'll see how the stuff goes over. I need a confidence boost because some of it's kind of cringy. It's not my when you have total freedom. You don't have that.
When you're with no constraints, things get a little squirrely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you never know. I'll probably like it. So, all right. So I want now. So I always thought the band was called Moreau, but it's or Maru. What? It's Moreau.
I think it's Moreau.
Okay, yeah, because
Dr. Moreau?
I remember on YouTube, I was just down a rabbit hole, and the video comes on for I forget what's the song called, California.
Yeah.
And I just remember watching that, and I was like, yo, this band fucking rips, dude. But I had no clue that, like, even back then, well, how would I? But I had no clue that them guys, you were like friends with them guys. So, what is going on with that? Are they doing a new record? Because I guess your bass player, what's his name again?
Jesse.
I think he sent in the chat on Instagram to like hit him up, and I just haven't yet because we've just been so busy with other shit. But I should really hit him up. But so, what do you know about that stuff? Like, are they doing anything or?
Yeah, Taylor's he's working on their second record. I think it's a solo project at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yes and no. He's collaborating with like the guitar player. I think is in France. It's definitely a remote.
Okay.
Situation. But yeah, he's a sound that he records bands and does live music, like live sound for a living. So he's not in any kind of rush to finish it. I don't think. He's just kind of plugging away at it when he feels motivated. So
yeah, dude,
that stuff is good. The new stuff, it's really heavy, super technical. Took it in more of a technical, genty direction, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jay, have you ever heard that?
No, I haven't.
Dude, really good.
Ping me the link. Yeah.
I think it's called Rumors and Reputations, right?
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, really good fucking record. Like, I forget what year it came out, but that record is really fucking good, man. See, I thought that he had something to do with Stepa, so I was like, wait, that's fucking wild. But then the more I looked into it, I'm like, he was just like, friends with you guys. So,
well, okay, but then after Shane left Stepa, drummer, guitar, bass player started a band with Taylor as the singer called Fire Set.
That's right. Okay. I do remember that in the chat now. Okay. I haven't heard that, but I will now. I'll check that out later.
That was the swoopy hair. I remember going to see them and they all had the swoopy cuts.
So the Spock hair, the sisters jeans. Yep. Everybody went through the phase. Everybody went through the phase.
I want to ask, like, if there was like 20 people who used to do that. Like, I want to know if like 15 of them at least are like, oh God, I can't believe I did that shit.
Hey, if to the audience, if you're watching, if you're listening, and if you were part of that white belt buckle swoop hairdo, buckle on the side of the pants movement, please ping us, newbreedpodcast@gmail.com. We want to have you on the show and talk about it. I mean, I do. I mean, shit. I still got a Castro hat upstairs somewhere. I still got one upstairs somewhere.
I'm sure I had a studded belt somewhere.
I still got mine. I still got mine upstairs. It's not white, but I don't think it fucking fits if we're gonna be real here. I mean, my kickwears don't fit, but I refuse to part with them. That's just general principle, right? I mean, there ain't no way I'm getting 36s, but I still got them.
Yeah, right. The last time I was on a 36 was 12 years ago.
Yeah, I think I was in 5th grade. Yeah.
So I know the excitement's there with online and stuff, but are you guys like hesitant at all to put it out at all, like the new stuff, or are you just like, let's just do this and see how the reaction is?
No, we're stoked. We're super awesome. Like, we're really proud of these tunes. Again, it's like when you have that much time to pick the best of what you have done over that time period. Like, there's all those songs that have, that we kept coming back to. So really, really excited about it. It's still to be determined whether Shane is going to come and do some of the vocals on it, like the Teenage Funeral. Some of the stuff, he's got a bit of a higher voice than I do. So I'm trying to make that a reality. Trying to figure out how that's going to happen, get him some gear, or fly him down here, or figure out all that balance and all that all that bullshit.
Are you guys thinking about live shows as well?
No, I would love it, but probably not.
So there was never any reunions or any reunion shows or anything at all?
No.
Wow.
No.
If the new album does well, the fans will find a way to drag them out on a stage somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, if people want to fill in on the other instruments, I'm down to sing a little bit.
There you go. Shit, wish I was in California. I played drums for you.
Good,
right, man?
Yeah.
So how old are you now?
39.
Oh shit. Okay, I'm 39 as well. So, what do you think? Like, all right. So, what would you say, Jay? It was about 3 years ago. You think new was starting to come back?
Yeah.
What do you think of the resurgence of it? Because from someone who was in a new metal band and toured around that time and was familiar with all that shit, what do you think about it now? Because it's not necessarily new metal. Like, it's more of like the new metalcore kind of thing, in my opinion. What do you think of the sound now? Like, do you think that's gonna, 5 years from now, do you think that's still gonna be there? Or do you think people are gonna go back to like that Primer 55 sound, or that like Taproot sound or something like that? Like, do you think it's going to stay where it is, or do you think people are going to realize, hey man, this is the way we should go? Because right now you get a lot of that gent sound that people are like, oh, that's new metal. It's like, not really.
It's kind of, but it's not. Yeah.
It's
like rap, and in a way it's like pre-new metal rap rock was. It was like metal riffs, metal of the time with guys rapping over it. That's a lot of it. It's like the modern metal with dudes rapping on top of it. I mean, I think that's why I like the Dropout Kings. I feel like they do a good job. Similar to Korn. Like, Korn's like, let's create hip hop music with metal instruments. You know what I mean? Like, they just had a different approach to how they wrote. I'm hoping, and this is just because I prefer, because I discovered music when I was like 5 or 6, born in 84. So that's like late 80s. So like, I don't love it in that I listen to it a lot, but like, in that I have like a fondness for that hair metal, like those gigantic hooks. You know what I mean? Like, really, really melodic stuff. Like Alice in Chains' Dirt has got to be my favorite record. Like, so I'm really hoping that like some more melody can come back into it, right? Some of those deliberate hooks, because I think what new metal had to offer that was different at the time was like it was still commercial. They were still catchy songs, right? Yeah, still bands you could sing along to. I don't want to like cap on any heavy bands now, because there's so much fucking talent out there, and I couldn't play 70% of the stuff that's going on right now, but like a lot of it is music for other musicians.
Yeah.
Like, I can see that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I put on like Tony Danza. You guys familiar with him? Tony Danza, Tap Dance
Extravaganza? Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
yes. Yeah.
It's like, it's so fucking crazy and I love it, but like I can't turn it on and just kind of sing to it. You know what I mean? I want to have that experience of like I'm putting this on and I'm just singing down the road and I'm vibing on this. So I hope some of that comes into it and it's not just rapping over riffs without hooks. I think we're getting there. I think a lot like Dropout Kings, they definitely writing hooks. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Like the all that new metal stuff, they were crossing genres and everybody was going kind of crazy, doing their own thing. But at the end of the day, there was a hook to the song. It wasn't, and I love extreme music, right? But it wasn't speed for speed's sake. It wasn't aggression for aggression's sake. It wasn't pig vocals and breakdowns just because we could do pig vocals and breakdowns. There was a musicianship to it that a lot of these bands, Tim, Ashes Like Rain, Memridge, Graphic Nature, right? They're right 13, right? Zeke and 13. They write hooks. They write songs where you can sing along to them. And I think you're right. Like that's a big part of it. I love fucking the new Signs of Swarm is probably going to be my metal album of the year, because shout out to Nikki for getting us an advanced copy. That thing is a fucking monster. I'm not singing that shit in the house, right? I'm not growling. I'll scare all the dogs. The cats will be going crazy. The wife will try to get me exercised, but the new metal stuff, they were trying to write songs that were going to be hits. And even if they didn't become hits, there was at least a hook and a melody and something you can get your ear behind. And something to be said about that.
Yeah, and that's not to say there's anything wrong. Like everybody's on this journey for their own different purposes. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it would be cool as a fan of heavy music for it to be a little bit more in the mainstream.
Guitar, anything with a guitar.
To metal guys, because it's like I never want to be mainstream. I never want to do this, but I'm like I fucking like heavy stuff, and I want people to have like when it hits you, like when that fucking perfect breakdown hits you and it hits you in the middle of the chest, and you're just like. Like I want people to be able to experience that because it's such a transcendent feeling. It's so cool. I want more people to be able to participate in that and get that.
I think you're getting that right now with Sleep Token, though. I think they're bringing the heaviness into the mainstream.
Yeah, slowly but surely. I
knocked loose.
Knocked loose.
Code Orange.
Even in their those new Code Orange songs are fucking wild.
Yeah, they're good, man.
Like they're wild. Even like a Turnstile. They don't just play their newest stuff. They play some of their old true hardcore type stuff, which is, hey, anything with a guitar, I'm happy to see it on stage because we don't need any more Taylor Swift. We don't. Okay, go away, Drake. Go away. Taylor Swift looks like a fucking. What's it called? The thing if I kill it, I get a praying mantis, right? Like, no, hard pass, fam, hard pass. Good for you, but hard pass. Like we need things with guitars and actual musicians on stage making music, right? Like everybody used to shit on he's so cheesy. The guy from Maroon 5, I saw them live and they put on a hell of a show, and I'll take that. I'll take a band that can actually play, right?
Yeah. Like that doesn't use backing tracks and
or because some of those bands I'm pretty sure some of them do.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of them that do, but if it works, it works.
Yeah, God, good, good on you.
The only thing I hate is bands that can't play because their computer died.
Oh, what a lame excuse! We had to cancel the tour because my laptop got stolen.
That's wild shit to me, dude.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Don't want to name the band, even though I don't really care if I do.
Just Google it. Or bands that can't play the stuff that they recorded because they recorded at a certain speed and then they use the studio to speed it up.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That happens too.
Well, Signs of the Swarm said that they couldn't do that, and then they played it, and they're like, there you go, dickhead.
The newest Monks of Low and Empty, they're like, yeah, you guys can't play that live, but really? The funniest story, Blake, we interviewed Knox from the band Enforced, right there in Virginia, and I love their stuff. And I said to him, seeing you guys live, it was faster. Like it was way more intense. And he actually told us that when they did the first album, the producer snapped it to a grid. So they tempo matched it all. So it was very, very even. And the newest album, it's like the wheels are coming off. And what did he say? Our drummer's kind of retarded. He can't play slow. He has to play everything fast. So he said like all of their songs are a good 45, 90 seconds faster live because they just go for it. And anybody who's listening that records this type of music, just fucking go for it. The fans will like it. It doesn't have to be clean. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Take the metronome off.
Yeah, get rid of the click and just kind of go nuts. I mean, Igor, if you go back and listen, when we finish this, go back and listen to Dead Embryonic Cells. That bridge, he's speeding up and slowing down. Dave Lombardo, notoriously kind of sloppy, but that's what makes it real. And I love my John Longstreths and my Adam Jarvises and the guys that can just blast Trey from Dying Fetus where it's like, Jesus, that's inhuman. But there is something to be said where it's a little bit sloppy. You kind of feel the human in it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would agree.
That's my biggest hesitation with our thing is that we don't have a live drummer. So we're doing it to the grid. And it's how do you edit the drums in a way? How do you mix it in a way that it doesn't sound like a robot?
Too mechanical. Yeah. But I mean, like we talked to the Alex from Ashes Like Rain. We talked to Gary from Memridge. These are all one-man bands that they don't, Zeke from 13, it doesn't sound like it's programmed. It actually sounds like a true warm kit. And I think the technology has just, Blake, I think it just keeps catching itself and doubling it faster and faster and faster where you can't even tell.
I mean, that was a cool thing about when the year before we made the record, we were recording to tape. So it's like we had, like just that ethos in you of like, you just got to play the fucking part. It's like there's no editing it, there's no tuning it, and they edited it and they tuned it on the record because we're in the studio and that's what the producer wanted to do. But our manager was just like, no, if you have to play it 50 times, you play it 50 times. Just that ethos. And so even though the drums are programmed, we're still making sure the guitars and all that stuff are as raw as it can be. Mm-hmm. Like this has to be a great performance.
Every time somebody talks about recording to tape, I watched that Sound City documentary, right? Which is a great documentary with Dave Grohl and all that, but Slipknot recorded to tape. How pissed must that engineer have been?
Yeah.
I got like 9 dudes I got to cut to tape. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like the meme about the sound guy is like, imagine Slipknot's first show and the sound guy says, wait, I have 9 people I have to mic and get out of here. Stop. This is not funny.
My snake has 8 inputs.
Yeah. Right. Like,
thank God for MIDI.
I don't know how they did it.
What did you use Superior on the new stuff?
To record it?
Yeah.
I'm using Logic.
No. I mean, your drum program, was it Easy Drummer, Superior?
Oh, Get Good Drums.
Oh, okay, there you go. I haven't got into that yet because I hate using, what's his name? That fucking Contact. I hate Contact.
No. Yeah, I mean, because Taylor has facilitated this whole thing, I'm taking what I can get.
There you go.
So,
that shit sounds good though. Like I've messed with it, but I cannot stand using Contact. I don't know why. It just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Get Good stuff is it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the easiest interface to deal with. I don't love I also don't want to throw shade on.
No, I hear you. Yeah, but Logic's great. I do use Logic on my Mac, but I'm a PC guy for recording. That's just the way to go for me.
No.
But Logic is it works very well for what it is.
It's affordable.
So yeah. So yeah, you guys want to wrap this up or?
Yeah. I want to be cognizant of Blake's time. So Blake,
yeah, that's what I meant basically.
We're good.
If anybody wants to find your music, check some stuff out, where do they go?
So Stepa Music, we're on Instagram, apparently all over YouTube. You can check out my Instagram. I need to dust it off. Blake Beckman 67. Yeah, check out my art on there. Some painting in the meantime. But yeah, definitely look out for the new record. It's going to be There's gonna be great songs on it. May not be the heaviest shit you ever heard. It's definitely some heavy shit on it, but we're stoked on these songs.
We would love to have you back on when it's getting ready to come out. We can talk about it and do as a pre-release stuff. We love doing that. We did it with Orthodox. We're going to do it with Zone Zero for their new EP. Where doors open, man. We'd love to have you on and have you get some free press and chat about it. I think that'd be cool.
No,
Definitely, man.
Awesome. All right, so I want to thank Blake for taking the time out of his evening to chat with us. I want to thank all of you for listening, watching, tuning in. NewBreed_podcast, Twitter and Instagram, newbreedpodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget, if you were part of the White Belt Swoop Hair big logo neon shirt crew, please reach out. We want to have you on the show. Find us on YouTube and find us on r/new metal. So until next time, this New Breed Podcast saying peace.
Later.